Harry and Meghan are having a bad week. They are absolutely stunned to learn that they are being evicted from Frogmore Cottage. You know, Frogmore Cottage being funded by the taxpayers. That was where they were originally living when they were, well, still royals, and they are still royals. They haven't been stripped of their titles. But obviously they fled to America because UK is a horrible racist country. And you'll recall that they complained about how small Frogmore Cottage was. And that was when there was just two of them before they had children. Now they have two children. And they just can't believe that Harry's father, King Charles, is going to remove Frogmore Cottage from them. So they decided that they were going to be evicted. They're making them leave. They're instead going to give Frogmore Cottage to Harry's uncle, Prince Andrew.
What?
And that makes sense because Prince Andrew is still a royal. And he is, no matter what you think about him, it would make sense that they're going to give it to somebody who is at least pretending that they like the United Kingdom, right? I don't think Prince Andrew is a good guy. But I certainly don't think Prince Harry and Meghan living in California, in Montecito, should also have the option to have a cottage that they think is too small, remember? So the Sussexes have a very friendly reporter. His name is Omid Scobie. He always has the scoop. Obviously, they're talking to him perpetually about how they feel about certain things.
Nice.
And he essentially told them, according to him, he says, it all feels very final and like a cruel punishment. It's like the family want to cut them out of the picture for good.
What do you mean by that?
Harry and Meghan have until early summer to vacate. Initially, they were given just weeks, but now they have at least until after the coronation.
Come on now, dog.
They feel that that's final. They're shocked by this. They're shocked that they're basically saying, no, obviously we shouldn't just let you have this cottage. Is this what shocks them? Do they understand? Are they this delusional?
I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
You really have to pause and ask yourself whether or not Harry and Meghan are this delusional. Whether or not they really thought that they could do an entire tour talking about how much they hate their family, how racist and backward the royal family is, how racist and backward the whole of the United Kingdom is.
Boy.
How happy they are in California, how they never want to come back, how California and living amongst their A-list pals is where they want to be, how happy they are.
Is he all right upstairs?
But he loves his brother. Don't forget, I love my family. I love my brother. I'm just literally going to make millions of dollars trashing them. And also trashing my little niece because she was a 3-year-old, didn't like a dress.
That doesn't make sense.
And they still thought that somebody should just hold the candle for them in the form of a cottage at Frogmore. You can't make this stuff up. You can't even understand what's going on in their minds right now. You just have to assume that they are fully delusional, and that's what it takes. That's what happens when you have a psychologist.
Well, duh.
Now in America, it's that new age psychology who can convince you that no matter how terrible of a person you are, you should still be awarded, and you should be potentially awarded with lawsuit money in the case of Meghan Hall.
And it looked like Boris Johnson wasn't going to do it because he wanted to punish Bercow over Brexit. Well, it now looks as if Corbyn is going to...
It's quite a twist, isn't it? Yeah, it's quite a twist.
Whoa.
It's quite a twist. Kevin, thank you ever so much for joining us. That was Kevin Maguire, associate editor of the Daily Mirror, and he takes a different view to me. He thinks, actually, because there's not going to be an election for 4 or 5 years, it wouldn't matter if the Labour Party took 6 months doing this. My view was if it runs to the 4th of April, we're all going to get very bored. But hey, who's worrying about the Labour Party too much right at this moment in time apart from themselves? This is the Sunday edition of the Nigel Farage Show here on LBC, and it is 47 minutes past 10.
Okay.
Well, it's not just the UK media that are covering this royal saga. Indeed, as soon as I finish coming off air here at 12, I'm headed down to Fox News studios to go live into their breakfast show in America. My sense is the world is looking at this. I wonder, because our next caller, who's a brand new caller to LBC, is Anne from Florida. Very early good morning, Anne.
Yes, good morning, Nigel. It is very early here.
Yeah, now... Has it been wall-to-wall, sort of CNN, Fox, everything the last 24 hours?
No, because as you know, there's all the nonsense about the impeachment going on over here.
Yeah.
So that's the wall-to-wall. But
Are you serious?
Nevertheless, it's being covered without a question.
Yeah.
But I think my thoughts about this are this. Harry is definitely putting his wife
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
and child first. There's no question about that. We all understand that, and everybody, no matter where you are in the world, wishes them well because that's human nature. However, I think my feelings about Harry is that he's looking at this very short term, and I think that's because that's where he's at right now, and not long term. I think there will be a huge loss for him long term, especially about his military.
Yeah, absolutely.
This,
absolutely.
connection that's being lost, and also his relationship with William, because it wasn't that long ago when William, Kate, and Harry were known as the Three Musketeers. They were very, very tight. So I think that's going to be a huge loss.
And then,
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
and when Meghan arrived, there was the picture, and for a bit they were called the Fab Four. And now we learn that the two women haven't spoken for at least 6 months.
Exactly. And I think there is a pattern here with regard to Meghan. And, you know, look, none of us are behind the closed doors and all the rest of it. We understand that. But, you know, certain patterns are very, very clear. And
Wait for it.
I think what Meghan's not doing is she's not looking at her husband's losses. There's no question she's getting what she wants and what she needs, and there's no question that Harry's putting her needs first.
Stop it.
Yes.
But I don't see her being unselfish or considering his losses or being supportive of his losses or bringing to his attention his losses long term. That's the part of the equation I don't
No,
see.
it's interesting. There was a comment, alleged comment that Harry made as the planning for their wedding was getting underway, some dispute with the palace as to what was to be done, and Harry said, Meghan gets what Meghan wants. Boy, he was right about that. And
Yes.
how long have you lived in America?
40 years.
40 years, right. Well, you still sound remarkably English, I have to say.
Well, I don't think adults lose their accent when they move. I mean, there's no New Yorker that moved to Florida that ever lost their accent.
How do you, I mean, given that they'll live in Vancouver, but clearly America's going to be the big market for them. How do you think Americans will take to Prince Harry?
Well, first of all, I think, you know, from the American perspective, I think that while the Hollywood elite might be bowing and scraping to them at some point, and you know, for purposes that will probably be mutually good for both parties, the Americans, as a rule, are pretty much sort of get over yourselves. I really think that'll be, and I think that'll be a surprise for Harry, frankly.
Interesting. And thank you ever so much for calling in. Are you a regular LBC listener?
I am. I listen all the time. Yes.
Very good. 40 years away and you can't give it up. Fantastic. And thank you very much indeed. Let's go to Chrissy, another new caller to this station from Horsham. Good morning, Chrissy.
Hi, Nigel.
So,
Okay.
winners and losers. Come on, scores on the doors. Tell us, what do you think?
Right, well, I actually agree with a lot of what your last caller said. I do think Harry is probably going to be in big trouble at some point
So do I.
because he is going to be moving away from
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
everything that he knows how to do and his support base. Also, I think, you know, he said he doesn't like cameras in his face. You know, this move, I think, is going to just
What?
put more cameras in his face. And of course, Meghan, she's used to it, and she actually seems to like it. So I can't see how they can go forward, you know, working together on the same thing.
Are you serious?
No, it's going to be very difficult, isn't it? I mean, I think living on Vancouver Island, they will be left alone. Of that, I've got no doubt. But equally, when they're at Frogmore Cottage, they're left alone. But I think it's this business of going out and making money,
Yes.
Chrissy, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
you know, there's a bit more sound footage of that premiere in London where, you know, Harry is talking to the boss of Disney, and we've got the words now. And he's actually saying, look, you know, we are making this pitch to you. So they've
What is he doing?
clearly been thinking this way for a long time.
Nigel,
I
did
worry,
you know?
Chrissy, I worry that they could be devaluing the monarchy.